We're live.
Hey everybody, welcome to our podcast 1901.
Nope.
That's not it. That's our Monday podcast. Welcome to the 1901 live show. It's really hard to keep these things in track, you know.
No, it's not.
Oh. I don't know what we're doing. Actually, I do know what we're doing. We're talking today about the Star Wars Hotel while Angie listens to the show on her phone.
My phone is literally just... Actually, I do... Sorry, it was frozen like that.
So anyways, we are talking about the Star Wars Hotel, the experience of that kind of immersion. We've talked a little bit about immersive experiences before.
Mm-hmm.
And so we want to talk about the Star Wars Hotel, everything that we know, kind of everything that we want, and then other things about the future of immersive experiences, especially like resort hotel experiences.
Right. And if you hear a squeaky toy, that's Slinky Dog.
Oh, that's our dog.
Well, it's him playing with a squeaky toy. So let's first and foremost, I want to just like actually cover what the Star Wars Hotel is going to be. Just
sure.
Because
so everyone knows.
Yeah, because I feel like before I even started researching for this, I didn't really fully know what it was. So I had to actually do the research.
Sure.
And I'm just waiting for Josh to pull up the research.
Yeah.
I'm leading into this. So two separate things were announced at D23. At the D23 Expo
2017.
Yes. There was Galaxy's Edge, which is going to be the new portion of the theme park Disney Hollywood Studios in Walt Disney World in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be a Star Wars theme land. And then they're also going to have a Star Wars hotel, which they haven't actually announced the name of yet.
Yeah.
And they haven't announced when they're even going to, this is even scheduled to happen or to be finished.
I think they'd like it to be open, like, just right after the new land opens, but, like, I'm sure they are trying to figure things out. So that's why they haven't released a date.
Yeah. So, do you want to tell us, Josh, a little bit about like where this resort is going to be located?
Yeah. So why it's being built at Orlando instead of in Anaheim, or instead of being at both? My figuring of this is that Disneyland doesn't really have the space to build a hotel right off of Star Wars Land, because that's what they're going to be doing at the Walt Disney World Resort in Florida. This is going to be a deluxe resort. I'm sure it might even be costing more than a deluxe resort, but it's going to be in that like Epcot Hollywood Studios area. Those two parks aren't very far from each other.
I almost wonder if they're going to come up with a new word instead of deluxe.
Possibly so. Yeah, I mean, it might just be, I would just call it like immersive hotel, experience. The hotel's direct entrance will be into Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, between the Millennium Falcon and the Battle Escape attraction. So literally when you walk into the park, you're still within that immersed experience, and you're right next to these like huge brand new attractions. Yep.
So they've come out with some concept art for this. So we know that there's going to be 4 people per room, which is typical
standard
of the hotels anyway. And according to a lot of the concept art, the lobby is going to look like you're inside of a starship or a spacecraft from Star Wars. The rooms are going to look like you're inside of a Star Wars starship, and actually they're going to have bunk beds within the rooms for the kids, and it's going to almost look like you're in a bunker on one of the spaceships in Star Wars.
Specifically this one, I like kind of the overall BB-8 theming of like the orange and white. So maybe they have different themed rooms as well. Right. I'm not 100% sure on that.
Yeah, but. So this is just like what we've seen so far. And there's not been a ton of details released just yet. Like this is like there's going to be so much more coming out about this as it actually gets built.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And I know they've already kind of discussed what some of the immersive experiences are going to be. Kind of like this weird, I guess you would make this akin to like what the next step of like Disney Quest was, right? Like this is like Disney Quest supposed to be like this virtual reality center where you got to go and kind of choose missions and do all these different things in a place that had like no windows to the outdoor world, right? And so I kind of feel like this is a place where you can kind of choose missions and do different things, and like as you go on missions, things happen to you. So like the lightsaber training, kind of similar to like the Jedi Training Academy we already see in the parks. You can go around and explore the spacecraft that you're on. This hotel is kind of an entire spacecraft. And when you go on secret missions that are personalized towards you as a guest, then each family kind of gets this overarching mission that's kind of specific to them. And I really like that, maybe kids will go off and do some stuff while parents go and do some other stuff. And by the end of their experience at the hotel, they'll have had this entire kind of like whole experience from beginning to end.
Right. And like, because there's going to be so many people here doing these missions, I'm imagining these missions to be kind of like the Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom. I don't know if you guys have ever played that, but it was a card game that came out like a few years back. Do they still do that?
Yeah, they still do it, I believe, yeah.
Where you'd go to like a little kiosk, they'd give you a map and they'd give you a starter pack of cards, and then you go to different window displays around the Magic Kingdom, specifically Fantasyland, I believe. I think they only had it in Fantasyland. Maybe Main Street too.
I think it started to slowly encompass the entire park.
Maybe, but there would be interactive like windows and like opportunities like that, where each card had like a little, either like a code on it or whatever, and you'd scan it. Something would read the code, and then something would happen in a window or wherever you were. Same thing kind of they did with Kim Possible in Epcot, the Agent P thing. I'm imagining that whatever these like missions that you go on are going to be like that, because a lot of these missions they're actually going to have in the hotel, but also in Galaxy's Edge. So if you're a guest at the hotel, you'll get a mission while you're staying there, but some of those missions you actually have to go into the park, into Galaxy's Edge to complete. I think that was kind of mentioned as like something that's to save from crowds and to save from like lines building up.
Yeah.
But they're also going to have you'll have your own personalized guide. So say you go to complete a mission and there's like a long line because everyone wants to do the same mission. You can go to your guide and they'll give you a new side mission to kind of keep you busy before you go back to the other missions.
And I think that's kind of become popular throughout all of like the different parks, right? When we did, so like for example, and we've kind of said it on a few different things, videos, podcasts, live shows. Angie and I loved Knott's Berry Farm's Ghost Town Alive that they do all summer long. It's your chance to kind of jump into this Westworld-like experience. So much so that like on the first time that Angie and I did it, we were only there for a few hours. They gave us missions, little packages to send to different places, and by the end of our day, Angie did such a good job that she became an owner of one of the places in town. So you can see in the picture that we have, like, she got a mustache because that kind of signaled to the actors that like she was a part of the storyline. And then, she did such a great job, they gave her like this whole certificate that said she's a part of the town now, and it just became this entirely immersive experience, even though it wasn't like how the Star Wars Hotel is gonna be. That's gonna be completely closed off from the world. Like we could have left Ghost Town, and we did after a few hours, but this is going to be a several day experience. Similar
that's what we're
to, like,
imagining anyway, right?
I think they've already said it's going to be similar to a cruise where you're you're stuck in, and then you're going to leave, but when you do leave, you're going to exit into Star Wars land. So I think that this is all really fun stuff.
I want to go just a little bit to the chat though, because we're kind of at a point where we've we've explained everything that we know so far about this hotel.
Yeah.
And we're gonna kind of turn it into a discussion now
Of like, what would you guys like to see from a Star Wars hotel? I know your dad, Peter, said that he'd like to see otherworldly landscapes outside of the windows, not just stars and black space.
You know, actually, on the Disney cruises, if you get an inside room, they have a porthole that's just a video screen. So it'll be a feed from the actual outside, so you see the ocean. But every once in a while, something will happen on the screen. So, like, the starfish from Finding Nemo will, like, come and, like, stick to the screen.
I love little stuff like that. And I think that'll happen. I'm pretty sure that they'll have stuff where it's like, you know, you're going by and all of a sudden you see, like, X-Wing going by or whatever. Maybe you see like a dog fight, you know, out there. You see, you know, a frozen Leia, like trying to get herself back into Brittany says that she hopes that they have a Naboo themed room. I kind of hope that like all the rooms are super themed out, although I feel like there's going to be not like each room in the hotel is one specific character. I feel like it's going to be like maybe 4 or 5 different themes, and then I don't know if you can choose your theme or what, but I would like that.
And there's a lot more that like came out about this as far as like the research that Disney put into developing this, and I actually think that would be a whole other really cool video to cover, because it's a really interesting story of like how they kind of like figured out how they were going to put this together and everything. But you had mentioned like the Disney Quest thing before,
right? And
like it's interesting because the idea, like Disney Quest in itself kind of didn't really work, right? The idea, it was never really that successful.
Well, it could have been. I mean, the initial idea was there. And I think people, especially at the time when it opened, like the late 90s, early 2000s, there was a place for arcades in the world still. There's not really a place for arcades anymore unless it's like a barcade where they have retro games and beer or cocktails. But like I feel like most people play games on their computers or on their consoles. But at that time, there were a lot of games. Like Dance Dance Revolution was huge. And the virtual games at Disney Quest were amazing. I just feel like the marketing for it wasn't there. Like, right? Like, if you walked up to Disney Quest, it was like this big blue building with no windows, nothing. You had no idea what was inside of it. Yeah. And there was a door, and if you opened that door, there was like a person at a ticket booth, but there was like no clear idea of like what was even still inside. You had to like ride an elevator to get in.
Yeah. Well, my problem, I think, with Disney Quest is like, comparing it to this, is that there's no theme. There was no theme inside Disney Quest except like games.
I mean, the idea was it was supposed to be a virtual Disneyland,
right? But you're not like it didn't feel like that once you were inside of it. Like it wasn't an immersive experience. It was just a place, an arcade without windows. Like that's what it was, and I think like that's what it was missing. It was missing like a theme, like an actual world. Like if you're saying it was supposed to be like a virtual Disney, then why wasn't it set up like, remember the game Virtual Magic Kingdom?
Right. Yeah.
Like why wasn't it set up like something like that, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. And like it was weird to put it, I mean, it worked the first one being at Walt Disney World, but I don't think it should have worked there. It should have worked better in cities that didn't have a Disney theme park.
I want to interrupt you. I think I forgot to mention this. So Alex said, I'd love to see some animatronics incorporated into the lobby and public spaces. I don't know if you had said this. It was on the section that you were reading, but I can't remember now if you actually said it or not. But they, so inside of the Star Wars hotel, they're actually going to have actors dressed up like different characters.
Yeah.
And dressed up like in costumes, but then also like, or some as like creatures, some as droids, and some of them are going to be like hotel employees that are like butlers helping you and stuff, and then others are just going to act like they're also other hotel guests, and you'll be able to interact with them as if they're just another hotel guest.
Wouldn't it be neat though if they had like droids check you in, like at the check-in desk? Sorry, I took that away from you.
Something that I'm not like 100% sure that this is like super credible, but I think it is. There was like papers leaked of research that Disney had done looking into AI, like artificial intelligence, of actually getting like voices of popular Star Wars characters.
Okay.
So why would they do that? People are thinking that maybe it's going to be something like that, where they're going to incorporate it into different parts of the story. Maybe they won't check you in, but like, you know, if anyone's ever been to Gringotts Bank in the Wizarding World in Orlando, when you walk in the lobby, you have like all the who are the
like
people that take
elves,
care of the bank?
Dwarves, elves.
Somebody tell us.
I know what you're talking about.
But
they're all
I almost wonder if it might be
yeah.
something like that. Maybe.
Or it's more atmospheric.
Yeah, and then I also think it's going to be like incorporated into like the storytelling, or like maybe it'll even be like characters themselves.
I mean, one of the biggest problems that I see is like if you see R2-D2, he's gonna have like a mob around him, right? It's not like, so either he has to be behind a desk or be doing something sitting up high. He can't just be roaming the floor. Like, you know, you can't just have a BB-8 just like roaming around. I feel like
they have it.
Some 10-year-old would just like tackle it.
Yeah, but they can do that. So like, you feel like if you're gonna pay, like, what are the prices gonna be? Do you think there's gonna be like some private experience where you can like have BB-8 in your room for something?
Maybe. I mean, I'm sure that there are going to be levels of rooms.
There's definitely going to have to be, like, Star Wars weddings. And you can, like, because you can have, like, Mickey and Minnie at your wedding.
So disgustingly nerdy.
They're probably going to have Star Wars weddings and droids. I bet you can, like, rent out BB-8 to be at your wedding.
He's your best man. Alex said, I think the Animal Kingdom Lodge is a good example of Disney's ability of making immersive hotels. I can imagine the Star Wars hotel being that on steroids. Yeah. And Dano said it's goblins that run the bank.
Yeah, that's
thanks, Dano. So I kind of thought that too. I was like, with Animal Kingdom Lodge, could you even backtrack and make Animal Kingdom Lodge a more immersive experience? Not in the sense like, hey, there's a tiger in your room, but like, you know, like you can't just have like random animals in your room, but like if they set up like a part of the resort to be like some sort of safari camp, right? Where like you're actually in Africa and then they take you out on this, you know, and that's part of the savannah tour or whatever that they do. And I don't know, that'd be interesting. Even though it's not a themed thing as far as like pop culture, like Star Wars is, where you kind of like know what experiences you'd want. It would be an interesting inclusion into that.
Well, because that's like one of the things that we've been talking about Westworld, and that being like real. And we just talked about Knott's. We've gone there. Ghost Town Alive is kind of like Westworld. We've had multiple videos on the channel. Shannon just put out a video about Westworld. She just finished the series and she wanted to share her thoughts on like,
right,
if that's like the future in immersive experiences.
The warning.
You put out a video about it, kind of just like the history of Ghost Town Alive and like how it works. And this is just a topic that we've been talking about a lot, but this is kind of different because it's not just a themed immersive experience.
Right.
This is a very specific fandom.
Well, and they're retrofitting one of the hotels in Paris to be Avengers themed, right? And I think that would also be a great choice possibility to create an immersive building, an immersive hotel, one of these cruise line on land kind of things, right? Where you check in and you go through the training on how to become an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. or whatever, and like you go through this entire Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. type of storyline. I don't know how many people would buy into that versus buy into Star Wars. It's a little bit more niche, I feel like. But I mean, I think another thing that they could do is build some sort of Renaissance castle kind of princess type of hotel. I don't know exactly how that would work.
I mean, they did the Caribbean beach resort. They have the pirate and princess rooms.
Oh, a pirate themed hotel would be amazing. I would be into that a lot. I think that would be a lot of fun. I don't know how many. Again, I don't know how popular that would be. You know, Star Wars being the biggest of big franchises,
right.
Everything else is kind of under it.
But like, it just seems like we're kind of in this age of like having experiences like this, and people want like very specific themed experiences. Like, you see a lot of like horror themed escape rooms and experiences like that. You see like Westworld and then like Ghost Town Alive are themed like westerns.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people like, there's Firefly and there's Burning Man, which are, what would you even like call that?
I mean, like,
it's not a festival. It's like
they're like
a gathering of people.
They're like escapes. A lot of people love them because they go and they basically create like a brand new city of people, like of this kind of tent city.
It's like being able to act out your fantasies. Like you watch all this stuff, you consume all this content all day long, and like, it's not real, but what if it was? What if you could go out there and like safely experience it as if it were real?
Right. I mean, truthfully, if Universal at this point doesn't fire back with a Harry Potter, like Hogwarts experience hotel, they're missing the boat.
People are already making that experience for themselves, just buying the merchandise and just going to the park.
Yeah.
Like, they're pretending they're
students.
Yes, just give them all. Like, how has that not happened already?
It's honestly like a pretty weird experience. It's something maybe that we'll see with Star Wars Land, but it is kind of weird that like when you go to the Wizarding World, either one, in the States, I don't know about internationally, but in the States anyway, that like the guests take it upon themselves to immerse themselves within that environment. And yes, it is an immersive environment, but it's not fully, you know, like I can leave the Wizarding World at any time. There's not like an overarching storyline happening to me, but people want that. People want to create that.
Yeah, there's no storyline. Like, the people that work there, and like maybe like the train conductor has like a loosely like based story or whatever, but like, yeah, it's like, it's different than what the Star Wars hotel is gonna be. Like, they're gonna have stories that they're following every day. Like, I'm assuming it's gonna be like Ghost Town Alive in Westworld, where it's like the start of a new day. The storyline just kind of repeats itself.
Yeah, well, you know, you would go through this cycle of, let's just say the Star Wars hotel is a 4-day experience. The first thing that happens is like a on-board ceremony, right? Like, everybody meets in the main lobby or whatever, and like you learn, you know, about the Force or about the ship you're on or whatever. You know, the same. I mean, it would be the same thing, right? With like if you were to go to Harry Potter hotel, if that ever happened, that the first thing that would happen at, you know, a few hours after checking in is that you would all meet to be sorted into your houses,
right?
And so I would assume it's like that every time, so it's the same experience. So if you were to do a repeat experience, so you did the Star Wars hotel and then maybe a few years later you do it again, they may change up a few things here or there, but I would say it's going to be mostly the same initial experience. Like at 5 p.m. this happens, at 10 a.m. this happens, or whatever. But there's going to be all these other, like it says, like secret missions personal to you throughout the day that don't include those times. But you're always going to have 10 a.m. this happen or whatever. Like last day you're going to have this happen. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Alex also says, I think we'll also see guests immerse themselves in Galaxy's Edge because the price point of the new Star Wars hotel will be way too much for most people. You know, I wonder, that's a really good point, and I also wonder if they're going to allow guests to just go into the new Star Wars hotel if you're not a guest. I wonder if you can go in to look around.
I doubt you will. I don't think that they'll open the door. I'm sure there will be similar to Disney Quest, where you'll walk in and there will be a lobby, and then that's all you can see. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
it won't be like the main lobby like we see in the concept art. It'll be like a white room, and then there will be an elevator.
Yeah, when you said that, that kind of reminds me of how it looks in downtown Disney right now in Anaheim. When you go to the Star Wars VR
To the void, yeah, which is, I think it looks that way in all of them.
Yeah, so it's like you first walk in, there's just like a desk or whatever.
Right.
I wonder, that just made me think, I wonder if they're going to have like a void experience in the hotel too.
I'm sure that there would be, you know, like when, in the original Star Wars film, when Luke is trying to use a lightsaber, they put like, a blindfold on him to be able to like use his lightsaber to, I bet that would be like a VR headset that you would put on. So I'm sure they'll use technologies like that. I'm sure they've got the patents to use droids, right? They did that a few years ago for parades and stuff, but I can't see why they wouldn't have little flying droids in and out of places.
Yeah. Well, my dad said stormtroopers, Darth Vader, Han Solo, and Luke battling each other through the hallways. I'm just imagining like you like open your door to put your like room service tray out like when you're done, and they just like go by battling.
So no, to be honest, like that could be real. So I'm actually thinking like, you know, on the Wizarding World again on the train, so your door might have like a tinted glass to it or whatever, which is actually really a video screen, and you may see characters walking by in the hallway and shadows anyway, and you might hear them or something throughout the day. So,
or they may even use that as like a transportation type of like ride, I guess, like attraction to get you from place to place depending on what you're doing.
Yeah.
I'm also really interested in seeing what they're gonna have for a restaurant inside that resort.
Inside the hotel? Oh, yeah. I mean, they have to have some kind of, like...
They're going to have, like, a...
mess hall or whatever, right?
Well, they'll have, like, a cafeteria type of a place. They'll probably have, like, a buffet. A regular, like, just cafeteria-style restaurant. And, like, a 5-star.
Well, because it's being shown not as, like, you're joining some kind of Star Cruiser, like, battleship. You're actually joining a ship that's meant to be like a luxury hotel.
Yeah, but all deluxe resorts have some sort of like cafeteria style.
No, I'm saying that, but like the story of when you get into the Star Wars hotel, you're not joining like a battleship. You're actually jumping onto a resort ship. So I'm sure that there would be.
Is it? That's the story?
Yeah. So I think that you're not like on the ship as some kind of like. Yes, you can.
But you're on a mission, so wouldn't you probably be like on the ship like you're a worker?
Yeah, but your ship also doesn't have like guns and stuff on it either. I think that's what they said at the D23 Expo. So like, you know, you're I think a cruise ship, some kind of resort ship that was like under attack or whatever. You know, and then all of a sudden now there's stormtroopers and stuff that have taken over. So, again, I think that would be day one. Like 5 p.m. when everybody's checked in, you go into whatever main hall, and then something happens to the ship, stormtroopers and stuff board the ship, and then it goes from there. So I'm sure there will be a consistent story through and through, and then you'll be able to choose whether or not you join the good or bad side, you know, and so...
You can't say good or bad, light or dark.
Light or dark, yeah. So, Dano says he can't wait for the food.
Hi, Keith.
Our friend Keith Openick is here. Hey, welcome, friend.
We were just talking about Ghost Town Alive. Last time we went with Keith.
We did go with Keith.
And Alex also said, will the meals be planned out like rotational dining on Disney cruises? That's interesting. Where if nobody's been on a cruise before, the way that a lot of them work is like there's a main dining room. They also have like the cafeteria style dining, like buffet type dining, but there's like a main dining room and you get a time that you go, and like there's like 3 times that you can go, and you have like the same time every night, and you like sit with the same people every night. I
guess it really depends on the price, right? Let's just say, so evening at the Grand Floridian is $500, right? Ish, give or take.
That's
I don't know the real price. Let's just say it's $500.
I remember when we were looking for our wedding a couple years ago, it was like $700.
Okay, well, let me just say it's $500. Just flat out makes it simple. But like, if the hotel stay is $650 to $700 a person, I don't think it'll have that rotational dining. I think you'll have to pay for all dining experiences. If it's along the lines of 1,000 plus per person, I think the dining would be included, and it would be that rotational dining.
It depends on like how immersive they're gonna make it, like how much they're gonna try to keep you at the hotel for the time that you're actually staying there. Because I wonder, like, they're gonna want you to stay in Disney World as long as possible.
Of course.
So like,
yeah,
like they're probably gonna want you to like wander outside of the hotel and stuff while you're there, because they're not gonna like have you stay at the Star Wars hotel and then move to a different hotel. Or is that like kind of what they're planning on?
I think their plan is to have you like so it
like
would
it's
be,
only part of your stay.
It's almost like instead of booking a tour or whatever, right? Like you would say, "Hey, I'm here at Walt Disney World for 7 nights."
So you split your stay. So you do like 4 nights in a regular hotel, 3 nights at the Star Wars hotel.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So you're saying like, okay, I'm staying 7 nights, and like for one day, I'm going to book a tour that takes up my whole day, right? Like that's what you would do right now. So now you're saying I'm gonna book 11 days of vacation at Disney World, and I want the Star Wars hotel experience, and they say, okay, that'll be 4 days. We will, and what they'll probably do is say what room you're staying in. We'll check you out. We'll pick up your bags, and we will put them in your room at the Star Wars hotel. So all you have to do is go from our hotel. Let's just say you're staying at All Star Movies, All Star Sports or whatever, right?
Because you blew all your money
because
on
you blew
the
all
Star Wars hotel.
Yeah, exactly. You leave your bags there, and then they say be at the hotel at the Star Wars hotel at 5 p.m. And then you can either take the entrance within Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, or you can take the entrance outside Disney's Hollywood Studios hotel. Like, you could take a bus around the side, and just make sure that you're there at 5 p.m. and 7 p.m. will be your call at whatever like main hall, and so then you just show up and you make sure that you're there.
Sounds like some like weird college orientation that I like don't want to go do.
I mean, but it's gonna be super fun, right? Like that's the whole point. Is it's like it's going to be you would be like, oh, I have to be there at 5 p.m. But like a lot of people would be like, I want to be there at 3 p.m.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they'll let people in, but you just have to kind of hang out and wait for everyone else to be there.
Yeah.
So you can go grab a cocktail or whatever. I'm sure people will be dying to go. It won't be like college orientation where it's like, I'm going to show up at the last minute because I hate this idea.
And then I have to talk to people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're going to have to probably talk to people at the Star Wars hotel.
But I could see this being like a cool way to spend some of your vacation, because I know like a lot of people that go to Walt Disney World will feel kind of like their vacation is a lot of work.
Right.
And they're there for a lot of days doing a lot of work. So it seems like this might be like a chance to actually relax for a little bit and take it easy.
In a weird way, yeah. Because especially if it's like the cruise, that the meals are planned out for you.
Yeah, it's almost like things are scheduled for you.
And you know where to go and when to be there. The only thing that
they do that, yeah.
Right, exactly. So the only thing that you have to do is like, let's just say a note from a stormtrooper gets dropped off at your door and you choose to take that mission, then you would go do that mission. Or you can choose not to take that mission, and then a stormtrooper kicks in your door when you're in the bathroom and starts shooting you.
Well, and also I think it'll make for like trips to Disney World to feel a little more fresh and a little more new, because you're not like packing every single thing that you can pack into your vacation every time.
Right.
So like this time I might be able to see, more of the Star Wars hotel, and I'm going to miss maybe I won't be able to experience like Toy Story Land this time around, because I'm going to spend a lot of time doing that. Or like, next time I'll make sure I get to like Pandora more or something.
I think this will be the breaking point for a lot of people when this opens. If like monetarily, yes, it's already at a breaking point at Disney World or any of the Disney parks. It's too expensive for what you I mean, it's expensive, and you also don't get to do everything. But I think one of the things that you see a lot, especially at Walt Disney World, is the kind of like, what do they call them? The commandos, right? Where they have like everything scheduled and they're going to get everything in. They're going to do everything. And like, I think Disney, instead of wanting to have you there for 15 days to do everything, would rather have you come on multiple trips and stay in multiple hotels and do different experiences, and take it a little bit slower. And I think that's the chance for this to prove that.
Yeah. And then also, like, because you just mentioned, like, different people have different styles of vacation, right? Is kind of what you were getting at. Like, what about the people that don't, like, what if you have 4 family members and 3 or 2 of them really love Disney and could do the whole week at Disney and never get bored or tired, but the other 2 people or 1 person really loves Star Wars and they wouldn't go on a Disney vacation with you except, oh, look, there's this experience.
Right.
And like that might be like, I mean, my brother loves Disney vacations, but if he didn't, I could probably get him to go on one with me by selling him on this idea. And saying, spend 4 days with me in the parks.
And we'll do this.
And then, like, and like, you don't have to spend the whole time with me. Because I'm probably going to spend a week in the parks. You can do this half the time. And then spend half the time with me. And then, like, we still get that family time. But you don't feel like you wasted all of your money that you saved for a vacation on something that, like, you didn't really want to do. You know?
Yeah. I kind of feel like, I don't know what anybody else in the chat thinks, but I kind of feel like 4 days at the Star Wars hotel is like more than enough.
You're saying 4 days, like is that something you actually know, or are
I'm
we
just
kind of
I'm just making that up, but I think if you were to say check in by 5 p.m., right? You could check in any time before then, but check in at 5 p.m. and the first thing to do that evening is 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. Call. Let's say that's Monday. Then you have all day Tuesday, all day Wednesday, and then Thursday they let you go at noon or whatever. I feel like that's,
I think 3 or 4
plenty
days,
of time.
I would say even like maybe 3 days, because then you get 2 nights. You get 1 full day, 2 nights,
and that allows also Disney to basically revamp the entire hotel and then start again. So if you have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, then you have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So they completely revamp in kind of a span of 24 hours and restart the whole story.
So they're kind of thinking of it less like a hotel and more like its own individual experience in itself.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like the reason why they don't have windows and they have screens instead is because they want to keep you inside for the entire duration. Yeah. Because then once you step outside, you've left you've killed the story. Yeah. And you don't want to kill the story when you're, 2 days in.
Right.
So anyways, 3 or 4 days sounds adequate. Yeah, thanks, Dano. Thanks, I appreciate that. I think so too. So anyways, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. I've been going like 40 minutes or so. If you have any questions or thoughts or ideas, we'd love to hear from them. I think that
and this was actually a user suggestion. It was, or not a user, a watcher suggestion. It was my mom.
Yes, right.
She said she wanted to know about the hotel because she didn't know anything about it.
So now she knows.
If she watched.
If she even watched.
But, like, send us your ideas because, like, we're having a conversation with you guys. So we'd like to know what you want to talk about. Also, can I throw out there real quick? Shannon and I just announced our newest podcast over on, if you listen to podcast 1901, you'll know what it is. If not, I guess I'll just announce it right now. It's going to be called Disney-fied Personalities. And Shannon and I are going through all of the Myers-Briggs personality types. And we're assigning the Disney characters that we believe fit into each personality type into each show. So, like, every show we're going to do two
different personality types.
Yep. And so next week,
INFJ, right?
We have no,
I'm wrong.
We have not recorded the episode yet, and I'm putting a call to action out right now. I already put it on our social media, so go over to our social media and comment if you are an ISTJ or an ISFJ in the Myers-Briggs, let me know if you are and like what you feel like your personality has to do with your love for Disney or your love for different kind of fandoms in general. We're going to be covering, again, like I said, all of them. So like if you want to just tell me what you are and just give me that, I can save it for later. Also, if you don't know your type, the website that me and Shannon really like for this stuff is called personalityhacker.com. And if you go there, they have a free version of the Myers-Briggs personality type test that you can take. And it might not be like 100% accurate, but at least you'll kind of get to know what Myers-Briggs is. That way you can follow along with the podcast.
Sure.
And kind of participate with us, maybe.
Yeah. Well, Dan wants to know when we're going. Well, when they announce a date, we'll figure it out. We'll all go as a big group. Skylar said, and funny enough, I thought of this as part of it. Casinos have no windows because they don't want you to know how long you've been gambling for. I actually kind of think it would be fun to have some kind of like, obviously it wouldn't be like real money unless they are somehow magically pulling some weird licenses in Florida. But if they had some kind of like game room, like adult game room, like where you're playing poker or whatever with different characters from like and species from like around the galaxy.
We keep like relating it to cruise ships. Like a lot of cruise ships have that too.
Right.
So when they're in international waters, they open.
Gambling doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I guess when you're sitting in a hotel in Florida, like that still matters.
Yeah.
But it would be fun to still play. I'd want to play like blackjack with a weird droid as a dealer, you know?
That would be cool.
That would be fun. Yeah, so thank you guys for watching. We appreciate it. Shannon was not on the show this week because she's celebrating her birthday. Her birthday is on Tuesday, so make sure to wish her happy birthday. And until next time, thank you for watching. Keep on moving, people.
Hurry back.